Look at a classic sweatshirt or an old-school hoodie, and you may notice a small V-shaped patch just below the collar. It is usually the same color as the rest of the garment, so it almost disappears into the fabric. Most people see it without really seeing it. A few lines of stitching, a tiny triangle, probably decoration, except it was not originally placed there for looks. That small patch once solved a real weakness in early athletic clothing. It helped a sweatshirt survive the repeated pulling, stretching, and heavy use that came with training. On many modern garments, however, the same shape no longer performs that job at all. So why was it added in the first place? And how did a practical piece of sportswear engineering become a decorative symbol? The answer begins before the modern sweatshirt even existed. Let's get into it right here on Simple Things Revealed. Before sweatshirts, athletes trained in wool. At the start of the 20th century, athletic clothing was far less comfortable than it is today. Many athletes trained in thick wool jerseys and pullovers. These garments offered warmth, which was useful in cold weather. But warmth was not the only thing an athlete needed. Once the body started moving, wool quickly revealed its weaknesses. It could feel rough against the skin. It restricted movement more than softer fabrics. And as it absorbed perspiration, it became heavier. After practice, the material dried slowly, leaving athletes in a damp, uncomfortable layer. Manufacturers began experimenting with cotton. By modern standards, cotton was still a basic performance fabric. Compared with soaked wool, though, it felt like a breakthrough. It was softer, lighter, easier to move in, and more comfortable during long training sessions. One company that helped popularize this new type of athletic garment was the Knickerbocker Knitting Company, later known as Russell Athletic. The goal was not to create a fashion icon. It was to make something athletes could wear for hours without the itching, stiffness, and weight of wool. Comfort came first. Fashion arrived much later. As sweatshirts spread through schools and sports programs during the 1920s and 1930s, constant use exposed another problem. This time, the weakness was not in the body of the garment. It was right around the neck. The collar was the first part to fail. Early sweatshirts were simple pullovers. There were no zippers or adjustable openings. To put one on, the wearer had to pull the collar wide enough to pass over the head. Then came practice. The athlete ran, twisted, reached, bent, sweated, and pulled the garment off again. After washing, the cycle began all over. Most ordinary clothing might go through that process once in a while. Athletic clothing endured it constantly. The neckline took the hardest wear. Cotton felt better than wool, but the main sweatshirt fabric was not always elastic enough to recover after being stretched again and again. Gradually, the collar could lose its shape. It might sag away from the neck, become uneven, or begin tearing where the collar joined the body of the garment. Manufacturers needed a solution that would not make the sweatshirt heavier or more expensive. Adding buttons, a zipper, or a complicated new collar would slow production and change the simplicity that made the garment useful. The answer was much smaller. Instead of rebuilding the entire sweatshirt, manufacturers reinforced the spot that suffered the most. That solution became the ribbed triangle, now known as the V-insert. What the V-insert actually did. The feature is most accurately called a V-insert. Decorative versions are often described as V-stitches, while some people jokingly call the shape a Dorito patch. On early sweatshirts, it was more than a shape made from thread. It was a separate piece of fabric sewn directly into the garment. Manufacturers usually made the insert from ribbed knit, the same kind of stretchy material commonly used around cuffs and waistbands. The ribs allowed the fabric to expand under tension and move back toward its original shape afterward. That mattered every time the sweatshirt went over someone's head. As the collar opened, the V-shaped panel stretched with it. Think of it as a small, flexible joint placed exactly where the garment was pulled the hardest. Without the insert, much of that force concentrated around the neckline and its seams. With a more elastic panel in place, some of the strain could spread through the ribbed fabric instead. The collar became easier to open and less likely to remain permanently stretched. The insert also added more stitching to a vulnerable part of the garment. Those seams strengthened the connection between the collar and the sweatshirt body, helping the neckline keep its shape through repeated wear. It did not make the sweatshirt indestructible. Fabric still wore out, seams still weakened, and collars still stretched over time. The V-insert simply reduced the damage by giving the garment a better place to flex. Some vintage sweatshirts used a matching insert at the back of the collar as well. With ribbed panels on both sides, the neckline had even more room to expand while remaining supported. It was a modest solution. One patch, one different fabric, one carefully chosen position. Then another question appears. What about all the perspiration gathering around an athlete's neck? Was it really designed to absorb sweat? One popular explanation claims that the triangle was added mainly to absorb sweat. The idea sounds believable. The insert sat below the collar, close to one of the warmest parts of the body. Its ribbed surface had more texture than the surrounding fleece, and the material could absorb moisture. During training, it probably did soak up some perspiration, but the construction tells a clearer story. The insert was made from stretchier fabric and placed where the collar experienced repeated pulling. Extra seams reinforced the same high-stress area. T-hose features point strongly toward collar support as the main purpose. Moisture absorption was more likely a useful side effect. So the V-insert may have helped with sweat, but it was probably not invented as a miniature sweatband sewn into the chest. That combination of functions was common in early sportswear and workwear. Designers had limited materials, limited production time, and little reason to add details that served no purpose. A single piece of fabric could improve movement, strengthen a seam, and handle a little moisture at the same time. The V-insert earned its place because it did several small jobs without making the garment complicated. Its story changed once the sweatshirt moved beyond the playing field. From athletic tool to everyday icon, sweatshirts gradually escaped the locker room. They appeared on college campuses, in factories, during off-duty military life, and eventually in ordinary wardrobes. A garment created for training became something people wore to study, work, travel, or relax. The hoodie followed a similar path. Introduced in the 1930s for workers in cold warehouses, it later became one of the most familiar forms of casual clothing. Meanwhile, manufacturing improved. Stronger fabrics, better stitching, and more durable collars reduced the need for a separate reinforcing insert. A modern sweatshirt could survive repeated use without relying on the same construction as an early athletic garment. The triangle could have disappeared. Instead, it became part of the sweatshirt's identity. By then, people associated the shape with classic sports uniforms, sturdy construction, and the look of older garments. Heritage brands continued using genuine ribbed inserts because they wanted to preserve the original method. Other companies kept the V simply because it made a sweatshirt feel traditional. The feature had gained meaning beyond its mechanical purpose. People no longer saw only a patch of stretchable fabric. They saw vintage sportswear, craftsmanship, durability, and familiarity. The triangle remained because it looked right. Look closely at a modern sweatshirt, though, and that familiar V may be nothing more than thread. Some modern V-stitches are only decorative. On a heritage-style sweatshirt, the triangle may still be a real ribbed panel sewn into the garment. The difference is usually visible once you know where to look. The fabric inside the V may have a different texture from the fleece around it. You might see clear ribs running through the patch, feel it stretch independently, or notice seams showing that a separate piece has been inserted into the body. That is a working V insert. Many modern sweatshirts use a much simpler version. Instead of adding ribbed fabric, the manufacturer sews a V-shaped line onto a single layer of material. There is no extra panel, no separate stretch zone, very little structural reinforcement. From a few steps away, the two versions may look almost identical. Up close, their construction tells two different stories. One is a surviving piece of practical engineering. The other is a reference to that engineering. That does not mean the decorative version is trying to deceive anyone. Clothing often keeps the appearance of an old function after the function itself has disappeared. The shape becomes part of the design language. In this case, a few lines of thread are enough to make a new sweatshirt resemble one produced decades earlier. The old solution has become a visual signature. A quick way to check your own sweatshirt. You can find out which version you own in a few seconds. Start with the texture. Look closely at the triangle and compare it with the main body of the sweatshirt. If the area has visible ribs or feels noticeably different, it may be a separate insert. Next, pinch the fabric and pull it gently from side to side. A genuine ribbed panel should have its own stretch. It will respond differently from the thicker fleece surrounding it. A decorative V usually moves only because the entire front of the garment is moving. Then check the seams. If the triangle is a real panel, you should be able to see where its edges have been sewn into the sweatshirt. If the fabric remains continuous and only the thread forms a V, the feature is probably decorative. You can also check the back of the collar. Some vintage-inspired sweatshirts include a second insert there, although this construction is much less common. Once you understand the difference, it becomes surprisingly easy to spot. A detail that once blended into the garment suddenly starts revealing how the sweatshirt was made, and whether the manufacturer preserved the original function or only the original look. A piece of clothing history hidden in plain sight. Now return to the sweatshirt from the beginning and look at that small triangle again. It was not added at random. It appeared when athletic clothing had a practical weakness. The collar had to stretch over the head, withstand constant movement, and survive repeated wear. A piece of ribbed fabric solved the problem without changing the entire garment. Over time, better materials made that solution less necessary. Yet the V remained, sometimes as a working insert, sometimes as a decorative echo of the original. That tiny shape still points back to the sweatshirt's athletic past, when the garment was equipment before it became fashion. What looks like a minor decoration is really a design fossil, a small piece of history preserved in plain sight. Sometimes, the smallest detail on our clothes carries the longest story. Take a closer look at your own sweatshirt. Does it have a real ribbed V insert or only a decorative stitch? Tell us what clothing detail has always made you curious. Subscribe to Simple Things Revealed and leave your next topic suggestion in the comments.